Live from Waterford and Dungarvan, this is Waterford at 1 News.
Good afternoon, I'm Eimear McKeown. Today's top stories. The Commission of Investigation into allegations of collusion in the Bill Keneally case is due to start next month. Fianna Fáil is under pressure to answer questions about false voting in the Dáil last week. A Waterford musician says a new bylaw restricting the use of amplified sound in public spaces is disgraceful. And in sport, Rathgormack celebrations continue after winning first county senior football title in 20 years. The Commission of Investigation into allegations of collusion in the Bill Keneally case is due to start the week of the 11th of November. Bill Keneally, a former Waterford sports coach, is currently serving a 14-year prison sentence in relation to 10 counts of indecent assault against minors which took place in the 1980s. The Commission to investigate allegations of collusion between the Gardaí, the Catholic Church and elements within the political system was established in November 2018 and has been collecting statements since last summer. Colin Power, one of the survivors, told Damien Tiernan on Daisha Today that he hopes the hearings will be held in a public forum.
We would be fighting for as much as possible to be in public. Regarding that, at the moment, we're not exactly sure. We're not 100% as to what will and what won't, but we would certainly expect a lot of it to be in public. We don't see any justification, really, if this is going to be a robust inquiry, that it's going to be in private. I certainly would hope that most of it will be in public, and I think that's the right way to have it.
Another survivor, Jason Clancy, said issues surrounding legal fees are due to be sorted this week also.
Our solicitor has been pushing for as much of it to be in public. Not all of it can be in public because there are certain things that are going on in the background in relation to other matters or whatever. Obviously, we have to be fair to other people as well who have complaints against Bill Keneally or whatever. So as much of it as can be in public, there will be bits that have to be in private, but we would expect that.
Fianna Fáil is under pressure to answer questions about false voting in the Dáil last week. TDs Niall Collins and Timmy Dooley have been stood down from the front bench pending an investigation. Our political correspondent Sean Defoe reports.
Questions have mounted over the weekend after it emerged that TD Niall Collins voted 6 times for his colleague Timmy Dooley, who wasn't in the chamber last Thursday. The party's Brexit spokesperson Lisa Chambers also voted for Deputy Leader Darragh Cleary, who also wasn't in the chamber. She says it was an honest mistake.
I thought I was in my own seat. I thought I was pressing my own button. And it wasn't until I looked up at the main screen where you can see the seats light up where the votes have been cast that I realised my seat wasn't lit up and that I was in the wrong one.
Many TDs believe that, as they do often vote for other people who are in the chamber at the time but are elsewhere or sit in the wrong seats by mistake. Fine Gael's Colin Brophy says it's still unacceptable not to correct the record.
The integrity of your own vote is what matters. And if you have voted in error, using a colleague's voting button, you owe it to both that colleague and yourself to immediately correct the record.
Bigger questions though surround Niall Collins and Timmy Dooley, with 6 erroneous votes being lodged. Their party colleague Mary Butler says it's right they've been stood down.
I believe there are still a lot of unanswered questions, and I would concur with Micheál Martin yesterday when he said the explanation that was given was not acceptable.
It's a big headache for Micheál Martin as the Count Corda's office begins an independent investigation. Sean Defoe, Leinster House.
A Waterford family who were the victims of an arson attack 5 years ago say they've been denied justice. On October 16th, 2014, 11-year-old Roisin Halligan was badly burned after a petrol bomb was thrown into a house at Ardmore Park. Roisin threw herself on top of her 1-year-old cousin, protecting her from the blast. Speaking to Damien Tiernan on Daisha Today, she says she still has scars.
The arm, the hand and down the leg, and then I have the skin graft scars up here, but you won't really notice them. They kind of blend now. But it was disgusting what they got away with and what they done, and they had no remorse or anything for what they done to 2 children. And they still walk their head with their heads held high, it's disgusting.
Her mother, Sabrina Halligan, says they've been failed by Gardaí.
I honestly don't think there was enough done into her investigation. 5 years down the line, still nothing. They have been on arrest, and I can't understand why that was charged, got released, charges dropped. All I'm hearing, there's files gone to the DPP. Be honest with you, Waterford Gardaí have an awful lot to answer for. They literally told me straight to my face, we know who's behind her daughter's attack, but we can't bring them to justice for what happened to my little girl.
Over €263,000 was spent on private ambulances at University Hospital Warford in the first 8 months of this year. Nationally, the HSE has doubled its spending on the service over the past 5 years. Nearly €7 million was spent, compared to €4.2 million in all of 2014. Sinn Féin's health spokesperson Louise O'Reilly says it's not a good way of spending taxpayers' money.
There are no value for money audits done, as far as I'm aware, in relation to this spending, and the spending continues to increase all the while. What we actually need is investment in the HSE's ambulance fleet to ensure that directly employed ambulances and ambulance personnel are available at all times when needed.
The UK's Brexit Secretary says the government will have to consider its options if it doesn't get a meaningful vote on the withdrawal deal. That decision is up to the Commons Speaker, who could refuse it because the rules prevent the same matter being discussed twice. On Saturday, MPs backed moves forcing Boris Johnson to ask Brussels for a further delay. European Commission spokeswoman Mina Andreeva says they're considering that now.
We have taken note of the UK's request to extend Article 50 until the 31st of January 2020. President Tusk is now consulting leaders of the EU 27, and it is first and foremost for the UK to explain the next steps.
A Waterford musician says a new bylaw restricting the use of amplified sound in public spaces is disgraceful. Councillors in Waterford have voted to amend the existing bylaws, which cover parks and open spaces. It means that no one will be allowed to use amplified sound for musical, vocal and artistic performances in public areas without the council's written permission. Founder of Buscade, Tyke Williams, says it's a quick fix.
The council are trying to promote the idea of a cultural quarter and are trying to promote culture in the city, and then are taking culture from the streets of the city is highly ironic. I think it's an absolutely disgraceful bylaw that's being introduced. It's a quick fix. We all know the story about one particular preacher in town during the summer, and as far as I'm concerned, it's a quick fix for that, to avoid that kind of thing happening again.
The Council's Director of Services, Fergus Gavin, says it won't be a heavy-handed approach.
This is simply to provide us and the Gardaí with a tool to ask or require people to move on where they're causing a significant nuisance in a public area that is to the detriment of the rest of the population or to the people living, working or doing business in a particular area. This is not a heavy-handed approach. It's not prohibiting anybody from gathering any place. It's not prohibiting people from gathering, from meeting, whatever the case may be. It is simply a tool to allow us to have the capacity to move such people and such a nuisance on.
Same-sex marriage and abortion will be legalised in Northern Ireland at midnight. Assembly members will sit for the first time in 2.5 years at Stormont to debate the changes, but they won't be able to block it. Sarah Ewart had to travel to England to get an abortion after doctors gave her the diagnosis of a fatal fetal abnormality. She's glad others won't have to go through the stress she did.
Well, for 6 years we have tried to do this. From today we're going to have the medical care here. I mean, there's not a day goes by that we don't think about our little girl Ella. I mean, the law changing today won't fix what I had to go through, but hopefully it'll make it better for those who follow after me.
WLR Sport.
And a very good afternoon at the Sports Desk. I'm Gavin, Whelan, starting with news of Gaelic Games and celebrations continuing in Rathgormack after they bridged a 20-year gap in yesterday's County Senior Football Championship final. Rathgormack overcoming Balnacourty in a tight and tense decider in Farrar Field. 2 goals and 6 points to 1 goal and 6. The full-time score in the county final. Goals there in the first half from Paul Drowan and Willie Hassey proving to be huge scores for Rathgormack as they led 2-4 to 5 at half-time. Jason Gleeson and Stevie Curry kicked a brace of points each for the Cumra side in the opening half there. Mark Ferncombe scored a goal for Balnacourty, his effort coming in off Rathgormack's Conor Murray to reduce the deficit to 2 points upon the resumption. Another David Luby free made it a 1-point game before Jason Curry scored Rathgormack's opening point of the second half. A Jason Gleeson free pushed Rathgormack 3 points clear with 15 minutes remaining. That proved to be the final score of the afternoon as Michael Curry hoisted the Conway Cup afterwards amid scenes of considerable excitement. Where Rathgormack manager Ger Powell was full of emotion at the full-time whistle and praised the work rate and energy of his team.
The most pleasing aspect of the performance was the way the lads fought till the bitter end, never gave up. That's one of the things we pride ourselves in, never giving up, and we saw that and we needed it there in the second half today.
Willie Hassey netted the opening goal for Rathgormack yesterday afternoon. He was also crowned man of the match.
To be honest, they just keep on getting better and better. With the hurling 2 years, or last year even with Clonea, unreal achievement, but this is something special again. I think we're more of a band, the team, we're closer together, It's great. They're like brothers. It hasn't really sunk in, and it won't for another couple of days. We'll enjoy tonight and tomorrow, and we'll face into Munster. But it's surreal. It's a great achievement.
With a further reaction to Rathcormac's famous victory on this evening's On the Ball Sports Show just after the 6 o'clock news. Rathcormac can now look forward to a Munster Club quarter-final away to the Clare champions on the 10th of November. New Zealand and Wales have both suffered blows ahead of their Rugby World Cup semi-finals. The All Blacks will be without Matt Todd for this weekend's last 4 game with England. Meanwhile, Wales flanker Josh Navidi will miss their final 2 games after suffering a grade 2 hamstring injury. Soccer Next in third place is back on offer for Arsenal cross channel in the Premier League tonight. The Gunners are away to Sheffield United, with the Blades having lost their last 3 in a row at home in the league. Arsenal will give a late fitness test to striker Alexander Lacazette, who had been out since the start of September. Republic of Ireland striker David McGoldrick is a doubt for Sheffield United, having missed the qualifiers against Georgia and Switzerland with a groin injury. Kick-off there is at 8. And in golf, Tiger Woods has revealed he had a knee operation in August to repair minor cartilage damage, his 5th operation on his left knee. The Masters champion says the ailment affected his back and walking for the second half of the season. That's the latest on WLR. More at 2.